awesome. And she's the best presenter and most engaging that I've been to. And this stuff is really cool. You guys will like it.
Thank you, Jessica.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Are you ready to see the latest, greatest educational tool out there?
Yes.
It is VR and beyond. Now, what did you think of being in there?
Very virtual. It was nothing I've seen before. That's the first actually time I put those on.
Isn't it
so
crazy?
I could touch the whale if I wanted to.
Absolutely.
She's experiencing the same thing. Very awesome.
Hey, let me introduce myself real quick, and we're going to have a lot of people try it out over the next hour, and if you want to stay after, make sure you'll get in. Hey, I'm Corinne Hoisington. I'm one of you. I am a professor in Virginia that teaches both college and high school dual enrollment students. I teach in the field of technology, but I love seeing new ways to connect with students. Hey, I write a lot of books, and I want to thank all the folks at Cengage for flying me out here. Thank you. You can sit it right there. If you're a business teacher, I'm writing the President Shelley Cashman office book, and really it's all done, so yay. And what I'm most proud of as we head into this is I'm the mother of 6 children. Aren't they a good-looking bunch? Yeah, so these are my 4 sons, 2 daughters. No one's living in my basement. And I'm very proud of that, actually. And they've made some beautiful grandbabies for me, and that's the finest things in this life, in my opinion. Hey, let's jump in. Do you remember, for those in my age group, just for a moment, when I was a kid in inner city Miami, I was the poor kid, and we only had a black and white TV. Who remembers, anybody in here remember a black and white TV? Well, all the rich kids had this beautiful color TV. And I kept telling my mom, it's like a new dimension. It's amazing. It really, really connects you. Today, I want you to imagine that everything in your teaching environment is flat, 2-dimensional, right? Flat chalkboards and whiteboards and books and all these things. But is there some way to go 3D? Because life is 3D. So let me start here. I have a big question for everybody. It's huge, but very simple. Do ostriches fly? Yes or no? This is not a trick question. I haven't seen that. Everybody, resoundingly, the answer is no. You know, maybe, just maybe, ostriches have never been able to fly because no one ever showed them what it would look like. I want to make the parallel that many of our students from small communities can't imagine being anything different. They can't imagine going to college. They might be the first in their family. So over the next 45 minutes, let's fly. Now, the first time you do VR, it's pretty different. And all the other ostriches are going to laugh at you because you look weird. And be careful with all the cords. It may not go well. I want you to imagine that a lot of your students struggle with school. But if they could see and feel and touch, it would be easier to understand. I think it's time for a lot of our students to fly. Are you ready to be the pilot on that journey? I'm kind of tired of teaching students about yesterday. Let's for once teach them about tomorrow. So let me show you what tomorrow looks like. Because a lot of times we teach things and prepare them for a world that really won't exist when they graduate. sessions. You may have seen this before, but this is my motto. I want you to read it with me real quick. 1, 2, 3. Don't limit a child to your own learning, for he or she was born in another time. Right? And I think we all do our best. I think we just kind of model some of our best teachers that we had growing up. Everybody thinking of a teacher that you just adored? And I think very often we actually have adopted their style because it was our mentor. But we do have a lot of new technologies out there. Let me kind of show you what I mean. Every Lowe's in the country is getting VR. In fact, over 30,000 companies are getting VR. And if they can use it to teach their customers, why can't we use it in community colleges? Let me show you.
Education is empowerment, and people learn by doing. It's just how we are built. And that's why we built the Hall Room How To. The Hall Room How To is a virtual reality training tool that teaches people how to do DIY projects when they want to learn it. Anything from painting a fence to
You're using this in HTC Vive. We'll talk price in a second.
It feels like you're actually there and doing it. It's very neat. I love doing it myself. I've done it 3 times and I'll do it again. Lowe's has been using virtual and augmented reality for years now. The Hall Room How To project takes us even further. We did an A/B test. Half of the customers went through the virtual reality Hall Room How To, and the other half just watched a YouTube video. Customers who went through the virtual reality version had 36% better recall. The potential is in DIY should be fun. That's what customers come in to improve their life. This is something nobody else has. This is a big, big deal for us. Teaching, learning, education, that's it. Even if we can unlock just a little bit of that mystery, that's going to have a massive impact and a change that I don't even think we can fully understand.
He said a line, unlocking some kind of mystery. And I think to most of our students, sometimes what we teach is a little bit of a mystery. So how can we unlock that? Let me start here. Let's start at the beginning. I don't know what you've ever seen in VR, so I want to make sure we all understand. So there's different levels when people say VR, what they're talking about. So I'm going to start more at the high end. Everyone, this is the HTC Vive, which you're going to see demonstrated up here. Let's talk price, right? So it runs between $400 and $500 for all of the sensors, the headset, the cam controllers. The apps run anywhere from, a lot of which are free, and the most expensive app I'm going to be showing you today costs $19 one time. So not awful. Now, I'll also talk about grants and stuff to get there. The other major name in this game is called the Oculus Rift. Also very good, runs about $400. The reason that I picked the Vive is I love the controllers on the hands. They're very interactive. You'll see why these are so necessary. There is another company out there that's in the big game as well. Microsoft actually this week came out with a HoloLens 2. And the difference is when you are in a headset, I'm going to have you be my victim. Will you come join me? I mean, my assistant. Why do I keep saying victim? So with these headsets, first of all, there's 3 pieces of Velcro. So if you're ever getting one, if you have it on too tight where your brains are being squeezed out, you will not enjoy the experience. So there's 3 pieces of Velcro, and we can put this on children like very wee young, all the way up through any age group. But some words of advice. If she were under the age of 5, I would have her sit on the floor. Why? She doesn't fall over. If she was the age 5 to 12 years old, I'd put her in a wheelie chair. So she could move around still, but still interact. 12 and over, I allow her to stand. But we're not going to put her on a roller coaster. All of these apps have movement. Most of the educational ones are rated a 0 or 1, so very little movement. But if we were doing gaming VR, which is amazing as well, that would be closer to a 10, and we don't want her to fall over. So if you ever get vertigo in these, ask to sit down and just move your head slowly. That's the ticket. Everybody move their head slowly. Even if you see something crash over here, go over here and look at it. Make sense? Now here's why this is called VR. When we put the headset on her head, can you see us? No. No, she cannot. Virtual reality means that you are going into a different environment to see and hear everything. Now I'm going to hand her earbuds right here. You feel them? And she's going to put them in her ears, so now I'm going to have to speak up, right? So VR, basically, you're doing pretty much all of your senses, but you can't taste. You say, what about scent? Sometimes you can add different things to make things smell better, obviously. Now, I'm going to put her in the environment. I'm going to hand her 2 controllers. There's not a right and a left. There is a dominant and a non-dominant, and I don't know which is which. So if you get in an app and you're realizing that you're right-handed and everything seems to be done with your left hand, what should you do? Switch. And that's something Oculus can't do. It's harder to do any of that switching. So we're going to give her controllers. Are you seeing things?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Are you underwater?
Nope.
Not yet. Okay. So let me get this restarted for her while we're talking. Now, here's the difference. What you're seeing up there is augmented reality. Microsoft has a $3,000 HoloLens that you have to put on, but you actually see holograms. I'll show you before we leave what that looks like, but that's right now what I consider almost too expensive for our classrooms today. So we're going to get her started. I'm going to turn on your 2 controllers. Once these are charged, they have about a 20-hour battery life. So I just charge them overnight when I use them in the classroom. Okay, are you starting to see something? Mm-hmm. Okay, I want you to look around and click on the whale's tail where you're ready. Do you feel it right back here? So look for the whale's tail. We're able to see what she is on the screen, but let me go through the other ones while she's in there, and then I'll show everybody what she's seeing. Everybody, there's what I call mid-level VR. Some of the names that you might hear are called Lenovo Mirage, Oculus Go. There's Google Daydream. There's no phone in the device. They're self-contained, but there's only one little remote. So how interactive are you going to be? It's pretty much just looking around you. So if someone says VR, it means so many things, and it's so different experience. So we have the high level that we're going to be showing. There's the mid-level, but these do not need a big computer to connect to run them. We'll talk about that. And here's the third one. Everybody, you can afford VR. There's Google Cardboard. In fact, everybody grab your smartphones right now, please. Here's what we're going to do. Everybody open your YouTube app. No, we're not just doing YouTube. That's not my technology of the day. Everybody go find YouTube, and it can't be youtube.com. So you have to, if you don't have the app, I guess you could download it. So everybody, we're going to YouTube. It should look like a red triangle, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so we're opening YouTube. Is everybody there? Keep looking around. Oh, thank you. Okay, so what you're going to do here is I want you now to hit the magnifying glass and in YouTube and type in 360 Nat Geo. 360 space Nat space Geo. Now, by the way, Cengage owns National Geographic, so one little byline in there. Yay. Okay. So, everybody, do you see a list of all these videos? There are 94 million VR-ready videos online. Let me prove it to you. Everybody tap on one of these, and if you're afraid of sharks, do not pick the second one. Now, when it starts playing the video, tilt your phone over. You might have to hit, and then start playing it like this. Start doing this number. You can turn your sound on. I like voices in my head. Do you understand now what I mean by 360 video? So if you're teaching 360 cell, you could type that into YouTube and get a 360 video and drop your phone into the Google Cardboard. So in other words, you could put your phone inside of here and see it more 360. Does that make sense, everybody? So for $5, now let me take it one step further. Everybody with YouTube, tap on your video. Next, where the timeline here is at the bottom, you should see this symbol. Tap this Google Cardboard. It's down on the bottom right next and it splits into 2 screens. That is for the 2 lenses in Google Cardboard. Is that making sense?
Yeah,
So there are 94 million 360 videos in YouTube that would really kind of be cool to show in class if you find something topical on your information. Show your neighbors, if they don't have a phone with them, hand them your phone so they can do the number, move it around.
Like you.
I'm gonna have you get somebody else. Get someone else, please. Take off the headset and show somebody else what to do.
May I have the gentleman in the far back, plaid shirt? You're next. Try to hide in the back of me. Now,
That's a perfect one.
so here is a picture of my classroom.
Good pick.
So what we started out with 1 Vive at our school. It has to be connected to a computer that has a really strong graphics card. And the graphics card for my techie people in the room, VR on the high end usually has a 1060 or higher. I actually have a 1080 in this computer. So here's what we're doing. Right now, she's assisting. Guys, tell everybody your names real quick here. Who are you guys?
Hi, I'm Shelly.
Everybody say hi, Shelly.
Hi, Shelly.
And?
I'm Sandeep.
Okay, Sandeep?
Sandeep.
Sandeep, got it. Everybody, here's what they're seeing. We're going to put them in higher level apps in a second. But right now, they're off the coast of Hawaii, and they're seeing the world underwater. They're seeing whales and everything. They're hearing it, they're seeing it, but believe me, isn't it different watching this here compared to inside?
Exactly.
It's a totally different experience. So let me kind of show you what's out there based on your different curriculums that are out there. Hey, who in here teaches anything with health? Biology, science. Let me show you an idea.
So you can click on the wheel to
I want you to imagine that you're learning the bones of the body, your muscles in the body, your digestive system, all that. And you're looking at a flat picture somewhere.
Might be the other one.
Would you want your doctor to only see that? No. Let me show you. This is how you now go into this in 3D. And you can dissect the entire human body, which we usually frown upon otherwise. So now you can go muscular. Dissect every piece. And how this works is you download these apps on the computer so that when you put on a live headset, you can see everything. Would you rather your doctor do this or look at a flat picture?
Come, just wait.
What do you think?
You can turn 360.
you can turn it slowly.
Right there in front of the desk. Go back. There it is.
So, I'm going to, after he comes back, I'm going to put somebody else in a second. Let me show you what we're doing in our biology classes from high school through college. We found that at our small high school in our area that they were spending $7,000 a year on dissectables. We're talking dead cats, dead pigs, dead frogs. We don't do live ones, obviously. So now here's how we're doing dissection. Why? So many students kind of opted out of it that it wasn't really worth it. You could only dissect the pig one time. You kind of can't put it all back together and try it again. But now what can we do? Do you see the difference on the video? Really a game changer. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off, have you both sit down for a second. What did you think?
Great.
Great? Isn't it crazy? It's different than watching the video.
Yes.
I'll go, don't forget your breaths. Hey, well, next thing I'm going to do glasses. The lenses inside the Vive correct for minor vision issues. In fact, if you're less than 2200, if you know your numbers, it actually corrects it for you where you don't need to put your glasses inside the Vive. So that really helps some visually impaired people actually get better vision. Now, if you're extremely having trouble above 2200, we recommend that your glasses go inside the Vive, but be very careful. Please understand, for some of our kids' families, those glasses cost more than some people make in a whole week. So it's important to take special care of them. What we're going to do next is I'm going to put everybody, try it as much as possible. We're going to go inside an app called Tilt Brush. And sir in the gray shirt, yes, right there. Yes, beard gentleman. You're going to learn to draw, sir. What's your name?
Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
Wait till you see what we're going to do to you.
Oh, great. All right.
So I want you to go ahead and put the headset on, the earbuds in. Would you help with the earbuds? And hand him these. Let me show you what he's about to do, and then I'll teach him. You know, a lot of people say I'm not very artistic. Well, maybe that's because you didn't have these tools. So instead of just drawing on a computer or on paper, look what Jeff is about to do. Are you right hand or left? Jeff's screen. You see what he's doing? Now, he can pick hundreds of colors, millions of brushes, and you can kind of create this. This actually can be printed on 3D printers. Now, Jeff, here's what I want you to do. After you do a little bit more drawing, walk into your drawing and turn back around. So, Jeff, walk into your drawing and turn back around. Now, what you can do with the Vive is you have about a 15 by 15 space. Do you all see this in my hand right here? It's called a base station. And right over here, do you see the other base station? These should technically be about 15 feet diagonally. Actually, I think I'm a tad short of that because I didn't want to run into a table. In a perfect world, these would be up 7 feet high. Why is 7 feet taller than everybody? Get why? So no one would ever get blocked. A couple people who went in it, you may have went gray for a second because I didn't have them high enough. It's hard to travel through TSA with a lot of this. So what we're now seeing in here is this is where the apps come from. The apps all come from a store called STEAM. And STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Digital Art, and Mathematics. How many apps are in education today? Approximately 1,000 to 2,000. And let me show you some of the topics that these apps come from. So let's understand, you find the app in the STEAM store, you download it one time to that machine, and you never pay again. You can use it perpetually. Now, let me show you some things that we do.
Excuse me.
Yes?
What did it cost to get it set up to run the tilt brush? Is there some hardware?
It's $19 one time for the app, and the headset, $500.
Right.
And
Were those boxes that are 15 feet apart?
no, they're all with this. Everything is together.
So it's $19.
$19. Correct.
Okay.
$19. So let me show you the app that I have up on the screen. And I'm going to have Jeff teach someone else to draw. May I have the young lady in the blue jacket, white lining, come on up? Yes, don't look back. Come on up. Jeff's going to teach you to draw. Jeff, would you mind helping her? So what I'm showing right here is called Google Earth. Yeah, go ahead and take it off and hand it. And your name is?
Sunny.
Sunny. Thank you. Google Earth allows you to put any address in the world. There is one exception. North Korea has not allowed the Google car inside. Or maybe they haven't, just haven't given it back yet. We're not sure. And even yesterday did not change that, okay? So therefore, Google Earth allows you, let's say you're talking about in class, about Rome. Wouldn't it be great to fly to Rome and walk through the streets of Rome? If you're reading about a storybook that took place in Thailand, why not take your students to Thailand to see the beautiful streets of Bangkok? So now this is a game changer. So now we've jumped to Japan up here. And we can actually jump down to street level. And when you go to street level, we can actually walk on the streets and see what people walking throughout this city would actually see as they look up. So here we're coming down to street level here momentarily. I think now we're in, where are we? I think we're still in Tokyo. So now we can see the world around us from a great looking view here. It's beautiful. Here's street view. This is in Tokyo. I've actually been to this area. It's got a lot of stores going on in it. It's amazing. Beautiful. What do you think? Yes?
So do you wear a VR headset for this, or is this just to go to and see?
This is a VR. Everything we're showing goes inside the Vive. Okay? So let me talk about why this works. And then we're going to see a lot more what's in curriculum and so forth. Here's the honest to goodness truth. When you read something, how many have read something that really interested you, but the next day you had a hard time citing back the numbers or whatever the statistics were, right? And we all secretly think this, maybe, just maybe, I have Alzheimer's, right? No. It turns out our human brain can only remember about 10% of what even interests us when we read it. And we wonder why. Have you ever said a term over and over again 100 times in your class, given a test on that term, and you're like banging your head that some of the class didn't pick it up? Well, 30% is only what you remember of what you see. There's only one number that blows it all out of the water. 80% of what we experience. And let me give you an example here. Do you know, in this state, I looked it up, we consider it mastery in this state and many others, that if you know these three things, we call it mastery. Here's what the three things are. 1969, Apollo 11, Moon. We consider that you know all about that space mission if you know those three things together. But do you? How about if instead you did this? Listen to the voice.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning it.
Who was that? Okay, let me explain. Let's imagine that I'm in that history class with you. Everybody, in 61, John F. Kennedy makes this speech that we're going to go to the moon when? Did you hear that? By the end of the decade. Now something terrible happens in 1963. Would Kennedy see that day? No. In Dallas, Texas, he would be shot and not survive. Well, now our country is in a situation, right? Here, this great leader said that we get to the moon by the end of the decade. So here's how this app starts. You put the headset on, and you're in this groovy 1960s basement. By the way, Netflix is not carrying John F. Kennedy. Isn't that shocking? It's an old projector going as it goes. You see a lava lamp over here, an egg chair, for anyone knows what I'm talking about. And you hear Kennedy in the background. Why? Context. We had to go in 69. Why? By the end of the decade. So, in 1969, let me show you what happens.
Safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
historically accurate. Students could actually spend up to 3 hours, and let me kind of talk about how we do this in the classroom. They can actually walk on the moon because they have this 15 by 15 space. So they can actually relive the moment. And I have to tell you, after my students go to the moon, and sometimes they miss because they are actually driving it with the controllers. They're not just looking around like cool cardboard. And this app, guess how much? $9.69, one time ever. Stay seated. Or if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Go grab someone. Go grab someone. Now, let's say you teach automotive. Is anyone, yeah, we're going to have, let's see, she's going to grab somebody back there. Someone volunteer. Good, good. Come on up. He wants to, yeah, go, go, go. Come on up. Let's say you're in an automotive class, and I want you to pretend a student walks up to you and said, hey, it's my first day in automotive. Do you mind if I take your car apart? Who's willing in here? You're like, first day? No. No. How about if students could do this in automotive now in VR? So now they can be in this environment and actually take apart every single engine to see how they're different. They could go on an airplane, take it apart, see everything. So let me kind of share you. I want to have you write down something. I help a little bit with coming up with my favorite apps, and a company just put it up on their page, so now it's easy for me to share. So there's this website that's free, bitespeed.com/apps. It's my 300 favorite VR apps right now. I put a YouTube on each one of them, and all these details if it's free or paid, and I keep adding to it. Bitespeed just happens to be the name of the company that set us up. So in other words, they trained us, and I came up with a list, and they actually posted it. This is the cart we put it on in our school. Do you see the cart on the left? Now, at first, we bought one of these. Let me go over some best practices. So, we have a powerful computer right here, a cart, a projector, and the headset. And then, at first, we only had one. The computer itself has to be kind of beefy. So, basically, for all of that, it was about $2,000 because carts are expensive. So, we first rolled it into the classroom, and all the teacher had to do was plug it in. One plug on the back. Now notice, see those two little base stations, these things on the top? They're actually, you can't see it, but they're on springs that pop out this way to give you a lot more space to walk around. So we bought one of these, but then we had a problem. Every teacher at my college wanted it for their class. We called this the hot seat. We rolled it in front of the class, put a couple students like we were doing in, but we actually projected it. I usually do try to project what they're doing, but it's hard for me to go back and forth to the slides, so you can kind of see what they're doing separately right now today. Well, then people kept trying it and so forth, and so finally, we wrote a Perkins grant. There's a federal grant called the Carl Perkins Grant for community colleges. It typically is about $20,000 per year, and we bought a lab of these. So now, instead of taking one student in front of the classroom, we would have students go in groups of, let's say, 3 in a class of 30, and then all go into the lab and work on a lab together, dissect something, automotive, every class, chemistry labs, you name it, there's apps out there for it. So now that's how it changed in our environment. So now, when we put somebody in, let me tell you a common problem. They only face forward. Think about everything you've ever looked at. Okay, she's like, I'm going to turn it. Do you understand why? We're so used to watching TV, presentations. So you have to actually tell them to look up, look down, look around, because you're so not used to it. And there's even little secrets if you bend down way far that you can see on a lower level. So this is a full 360. Look at her go. I'm so proud she's listening.
Thank you.
Okay? Thanks, Chief. So we set this up. Let me show you if you have the 7-foot lifting. Do you see the difference here when they're 7 feet tall with the base stations? And this is what it can look like. Typically, this is the layout. Why don't we want